Hey, my name is Gabe. I'm with API Nation. Today I'm going to show you how you can use API Nation's new syncs for KW Command to run your business smoother and with less busy work. I'm going to tell you all about what API Nation is and how it can help you out. Super easy, let me show you. First thing is, what is API Nation? Well, API Nation is all about connecting apps. And in this case, we're connecting KW Command. So if you have KW Command, you're doing all this work in it, we should be talking to the other apps you use so that the contacts you add in KW Command automatically show up in your marketing tools like MailChimp and Constant Contact, in your transaction manager like Dotloop, or in your contact manager like Google Contacts or iCloud. It saves you a ton of time in data entry. That way all the work you do in any of those apps propagates to the other apps, and you only have to do that work once. You only have to enter those leads once, make those notes once, change that email address once, and it updates in all your other systems. So if that sounds good to you, less work, more time to generate revenue, just go to the KW Marketplace. You'll search for any of the API Nation KW Command syncs. For example, here is the iCloud one. And you can just purchase it there. Once you purchase it, it will sit in your My Apps area. And now these syncs are available for you to activate and sync up KW Command with any of these other apps. For example, maybe I just want to set up the sync for KW Command and Google Contacts. I would just click through, follow the instructions, and you'll have KW Command and Google Contacts sharing contacts in no time. If you want to see what automations and workflows you have set up in API Nation, you can just go to apination.com, click sign in, and you'll sign in with your KW email address. Once you sign in, you'll be taken to your workflows areas, and this will show you all the workflows you have currently set up. Don't forget, just by purchasing the workflow, the sync in KW Marketplace, that just means it's available for you to set up. You then have to click through it, finish setting it up, and then it'll show up here in your workflows. So you can see I have 4, and some of them are paused and some need to be set up. So over here, I can just activate them just by clicking this toggle. There we go. That one is now up and running. And I can also activate them by setting them up. So I click this button to set it up. Over here, you can see I can see all my syncs, only active syncs, only syncs that I've paused, maybe syncs that I need to look at or update. And I can also see syncs that need to be configured and then activated. Let's go look at an active sync to see exactly what kind of options we have in that workflow. I'm going to click on it. And then just working from the top down, you can see it's currently running. If I wanted to pause it, I could just click that. I'm going to go ahead and start it. A couple other interesting options here. Up here in the right-hand corner, you can see it's syncing every 5 minutes. If for whatever reason I've just added a contact to Google Contacts, I want it to go into KW Command right now, I can just click this button and it'll go ahead and start itself up without having to wait for the next 5-minute batch to send over. Here you have settings and logs. Logs basically just tell you when the data has gotten sent over, or maybe when it found no new data had been added into, for example, Google Contacts. So we didn't have to send anything over to KW Command. So you can see we've had some successful syncs, and we've had some syncs where no new data was found. No big deal. You can click down for a little bit more information. On all these, it looks like everything went exactly how we expect, so there's no new info. So I'm going to click on Settings now, and I can see exactly how this sync is set up. So I can see here is the action. If I create or update a contact in Google Contacts, it is creating or updating a contact in KW Command. And it's coming from this gabe@apination.com account. If you have more than one Google account, you can go ahead and add a second account and then toggle down to that other account instead. So maybe I didn't want it on my professional account. Maybe I wanted to connect my personal. So I can just click through here, connect my personal, and then choose that in the in the drop-down instead. Here is the group that's getting sent over from Google Contacts. This is the label, basically. So we usually have a few different options when sending the contacts in the KW command. In this case, it's the label with Google Contacts. So I can select exactly what label I want sent over. Maybe I only want contacts who are currently labeled fire, or currently labeled seller or buyer. Or you can just leave it as default, and that's gonna send over all the contacts you have in Google Contacts, no matter what label. If I happen to make a label while I'm in this screen, I could just click this refresh button. It's gonna check and see exactly what the latest list of labels is available in Google Contacts, and it's gonna refresh it. So maybe I created one that said agents, so I could then come here, refresh it, and then it'll show up here. Sync all contacts on first run. There's a couple options when you're creating these workflows. If the box is checked, when you first start the sync, it's going to take all the contacts that are in Google Contacts that meet this criteria and send them into KW command. If you uncheck the box, it's only going to send over any new or updated contacts from today going forward. So this happens when an agent, maybe their Google Contacts is pretty messy or pretty out of control, and they don't want to push that all directly into KW command. Instead, they just want to turn this thing on so that as they continue to add new contacts in the future, who they will absolutely add correctly with all the correct information, those people get added because they are getting added from today and into the future. So if that's the case, again, I would leave the box unchecked. We also have these options: do not overwrite information in KW command, only add information in blank fields. So if you have John Schmidt in Google Contacts and you have an email address and you have a John Schmidt in KW command, but you only have a phone number, in this case, we would just add the email address because it's an empty field in KW command. Just add that extra info into KW command. Down here, you can see we have some filters set up for this integration, and you can go through and play with these. By default, no filters are set up, so this one's a little bit special. Now I'm gonna go ahead and change this to no filter. This is how it's set up by default. But if I wanted, I could choose any of the fields coming from Google Contacts. Maybe I only want people whose first name is David. I could absolutely do that. Most likely, you're probably going to want to filter by something more useful, by city or zip, or I actually have an email address, so email address is not empty, so something like that. Filters are a super powerful way to make sure the contacts you want are sent into KW command and the contacts you don't want stay in Google Contacts. So I'm going to save that. And again, filters you can add or, so maybe I want email is not empty, or mobile phone is not empty. So basically this is just saying I need some way to contact these people. So if the email is not empty, they need to at least have a mobile phone, or if the mobile phone is empty, they need to at least have an email. So I could do or rules and add more and more to make sure I get exactly who I want. Or I could add some and rules. So somebody whose email is not empty and who lives in, contains Austin. So I could do that, absolutely, and save that. Like I said, by default, this is no filter and you can create whatever you want. The last piece here is the mapping. So you can see we map most of these for you: first name to first name, middle name, last name. And this is how it is for all the syncs. If I don't like how it's mapped, I can just click this red X and it's going to remove that connection. And then I can go ahead and come down here and maybe I'm going to map first name over to preferred name. I can do that. I just click on one and then click on the other. Maybe I want to add company to source. I could do that. Just click on the left and then click on the right. I could even add a custom field. So custom fields are fields that come over the exact same every time with every contact from, in this case, Google Contacts, but it could be iCloud. It could be, any of the other apps that you connect to KW Command. So for example, maybe instead of this company being the source, maybe I want to add a custom field. I'm going to call this source, and I'm going to call this Google Contacts. And this field value is what's going to get put into the source field. So I'm going to connect this new custom field. Again, this is the exact same thing. It's always going to say Google Contacts no matter what. I'm going to map that to source. There we go. So that's how you use the add custom field. If you scroll on down, we also have this button here to remove workflow. So if you decide you don't need this workflow, you just click this and it'll delete it for you. I'm going to go back to my syncs. And there's that workflow we've just configured, so it's working exactly how we want. A couple other things to look at. I'm going to click on my profile here, and I can see exactly what my account settings are. For example, this is the email I sign in with. I can check when my last password was changed. Maybe if I need to change a password, I can go ahead and do that here. The authorization key is only necessary for QuickBooks integrations. Here I can see my subscriptions, and these subscriptions would be syncs that I purchased from APINation.com. Your subscription that you purchased through the KW Marketplace, so any of the ones that show up here in My Apps will not show up here on your API Nation subscriptions. They will only show up in your KW Marketplace My Apps area. So if you need to cancel any of these subscriptions, you're just going to click a gear, go to Manage App, Update Subscription, and you can click Cancel Subscription. And that's how you cancel your subscription inside the KW Marketplace. Aside from the subscriptions, you can also check out all the apps we have here on API Nation. We have apps for a ton of other real estate tools, including Google Drive, Google Sheets, Inspectify, some CRMs, some awesome marketing tools like MailChimp, Mojo Dialer, and any of these can be connected to other apps you may be using. Just click through to see what connections are available. Mojo, it looks like, can be connected to Outlook, Google Contacts, and we're adding new connections every day. So if you need a connection that you don't see, let me go back here. You can just click here to request an app and fill out the form, and it'll let us know, I need this connection you guys don't currently offer. Please build it. I will use it. So that is it. That is KW Command and API Nation. If you have any questions or need any help, please let us know. But by connecting all your applications, connecting KW Command to these other tools that you're using, it allows you to work smarter, save time, and get out there and make more deals. Again, if you need any assistance, go to apination.com/KW. You can get answers, and you can set up a guided training if you'd like. We're API Nation, connecting the world's applications. We love doing this stuff.